I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-Minute Convos, where I help you create a brand of your own unique real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good morning, Lars Klint. How are you doing on this wonderful, beautiful morning?
Well, you're saying it's morning. It's actually it's 9:30 p.m. my time. So I had a good morning, and now it's a lovely evening.
Well, what part of the world are you in right now?
I am in the southern part of Australia, in the state of Victoria.
All right. Well, do tell us which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this time.
Well, I'm not sure, to be honest. I'd like to think that it's my branding, my talent of branding, because you found me through LinkedIn. But I also run another podcast, so maybe it was through common interest in podcasting.
Most definitely. Tell us about your podcast. What do you do there?
So it's a podcast. It's actually an interesting concept. It's called The Dane and the Pain, and it's I'm obviously the Dane because I'm from Denmark originally. And the pain is Joel, and he lives in Alaska, and we've never met. But we create a podcast once a week anyway. So it's interesting. We're getting to know each other through a podcast.
That's intriguing. What is the podcast about, though?
It's about tech in general. So it's basically about science and tech. Whatever we find in our journeys throughout the week on internet and Twitter and social media and magazines or whatever it might be, we can talk about anything we think is interesting, because I guess we write the script. So it's science and tech.
That's good. Now, who did you learn the skills of podcasting from?
I didn't. I just went for it, and I've been doing. So I'm an author. I author video courses, so I have a little bit of an idea about audio, but I didn't have any clue about podcasting, and we just kind of went for it, and been honing our skills as we went along.
It's been a while, right? You've been doing this, right?
Yeah, we're up to episode 60 now, and we kind of do it every week if we can, but we do miss a week here and there just because life happens. So it's been going about a year and a half-ish.
All right, so let's continue. Why will you continue to repeat the skill of podcasting?
It's a good way for me to explore topics that I don't normally get to spend much time on. Obviously, if I need to talk about them, I need to have a little bit of knowledge about them. Plus, it gives me a really good idea of how people react to the content in terms of how do I engage with people. I quite like talking to people in general, so it's a good skill to have to kind of gauge what the interest of the audience is.
Oh, that's a great idea. It's like a litmus test, isn't it?
Yeah, to some extent. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it, actually.
Well, where's the best place for someone to connect with what you're doing, Lars?
Probably if you listen to the podcast already on iTunes or whatever you use for podcasts, just search for The Dane and the Pain, or go to daneandthepain.com. You can listen to it there as well. That's probably the easiest.
That was wonderful. Well, do tell us one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years, please.
Sure. So I'm a Pluralsight author. Pluralsight is a platform for training content in the technology space, mainly for development, so programming in general. And I've been doing courses for them for probably just on 4 years now, and I quite enjoy it. So these are all scripted, recorded, screen share or screencasting courses on whatever technology you find interesting. So currently there's about 6,000 courses on Pluralsight, so I've done a few of those.
Wow. You know, that's one thing that I must say I'm a bit nervous about doing, like speaking to the screen in that format where you are coaching someone through the process with, hey, click here, and then when I click here, I do this. It's the one thing that has me nervous, I must say. Do you get nervous around that?
Not really. You're meant to do coursework on topics that you are very familiar with. So essentially, you're the expert that is teaching it. The hard part for me is finding the right way to teach it. So finding the right cadence, so you don't get boring or you don't go too fast, but find a level that people can follow along with. And then you find out that most people don't actually watch a course from beginning to end. You jump around in it and watch the bits that they need. So there's a few different ways of teaching, which is probably the hardest part. It's not so much delivering it.
Yeah. How does it make you feel doing what you're doing, understanding that, people, I mean, you're putting in the work and yet someone may not take in the entire content? How does that make you feel?
It's okay. If I can add a bit of value to whatever someone needs, that's fine with me. I'm not so, let's say, arrogant that I think that I deliver everything people need. I'm just a little part of the puzzle, but I'm glad to be that part of the puzzle. And it does mean that I get exposure for doing other things. So people contact me about other things because they saw me doing, they're doing something on topic A. They think, oh, maybe it's linked to topic B, and then ask me about that. So it does give a conversation starter.
I love it. Well, Lars, it seems as though you're an individual that has taken what you love doing and you've found different mediums to express it without even diving into the fear of what that medium may need to get done, right? Just like the podcasting, you jumped into that, never learned that, never just jumped into it, right? Why would you suggest to others who have such a passion for the thing they love doing that they approach it in a similar way?
Well, I can kind of describe it with a cliche, and it's you often regret the things you didn't do, not so much the things you did. And as much as that is a cliche, it's very true. It's just a matter of jumping into it. Even in Pluralsight, I had no idea. I found an email address on some blog post they wrote somewhere and just emailed them and say, hey, I want to be an author. What do I do? That first step, as scary as it might be, is always the hardest one. And it's the same, doing the first Pluralsight course is an enormous amount of work and it's very, very difficult. But the easiest thing you can do is give up. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it, right?
Yeah.
So having that if it is your passion, you are going to find a way to complete it. That's just the way I look at it.
I love it. Well, amazing audience. You're hearing it live here from Lars Klint. Again, he is the podcast host of The Dean and the Pain. Of course, he said he's the Dean, right? So we may yet get to know the pain. Lars, let's switch gears for a moment now and let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Lars, what is your earliest childhood memory?
Yeah, I did see that question, and it made me kind of think what it actually is. I'm not sure I know what the earliest is, but one of them that I can remember is sitting on my granddad's lap and just looking at his silvery, wavy hair. And I don't know where it was, but I just have this vivid memory of his hair for some reason. He passed away when I was 4, so I don't have a lot of memories of him, but that's one of them.
How old do you think you were when you were sitting on his lap?
I don't know. 3, probably. About 3.
Why do you think this memory is so clear?
Probably because I don't know why, but he is the one I resemble the most of all of my grandparents. So maybe there's some connection there, I'm not sure. Or maybe that's just a memory I hold on to because I don't have many others. Whereas my other grandparents passed away when I was much, much older. So maybe that's a reason, I'm not sure.
That's intriguing. Can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind?
Sure.
I love the idea that your mind seems to function in a way that you capture the information that's necessary and then you dump the rest, if you would. It's amazing to see in this memory that you found a way to file and rack or rack and file images. To see that you're doing that now as a Pluralsight, where you found a way not only to help others, for those that may be just running through the information, but you found a way to tally what is necessary, what is probably not necessary for the benefit of the individual. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think our subconscious has an interesting function in retaining information that we at the time probably don't find very particularly important. But there's something that there's some chemical connection or something that makes it stick, and usually for good reason. It's not always that we appreciate whatever those reasons are, but I think there's a good reason that things do stick around.
If we fast forwarded to when you were 12, what was your favorite song?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. It would be some sort of Danish song. I have no doubt about that. But which one does? It was, early 90s. It probably would have been terrible, whatever it was.
So what's one song that just pops into your mind? I mean, I had a few Danish guys, and of course it was a Danish song. It wasn't so terrible, but they said the exact same thing. It must have been a terrible song.
Danish music at that time was not particularly great. There's one I remember from the 80s when I was a little bit younger, because a friend of mine, his dad was a pop star and had, kind of like a one-hit wonder, really big, one-hit wonder kind of song. And we heard that when we were about 12 a lot. So that sticks in there. It's by Danish. It's a group called Laban, Laban. And it's called Hvor skal vi sove i nat, which means where do we sleep tonight?
Right.
And it's very rudimentary.
All right, well, I say, okay, all right. Well, my friend, we've arrived at our destination now. But before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready, Lars?
Sure.
Lars, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Let's go with yes. I do have a 12-year-old stepson that is very interested in everything I do, and I do try and pass certain things on to him.
Well, we love the number 12 here, so yes, please continue to do that. Are you married? Are you married?
I lost you.
Sure. Are you married?
Oh, now you're back.
1 second. All right. Are you hearing me?
Yep, I can hear you just fine now.
All right, let me just level this off. Wonderful. Are you married?
No.
Okay.
I do live with my partner.
All right. You said you have your stepson. Do you believe in God?
I don't know. That's it's a very personal question, and it's to me, it's not a yes or no answer.
All right. Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes, very much so.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
I pretty much never watch TV.
What about screen time, the phone and the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Way more than 8, I'd say.
Lars, if you had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents Lars Klint, what would you say that is?
It's not my words, but it's something I kind of live by, and it's do today what others won't, so tomorrow you can do what others can.
So you cut out on the last part. I'm guessing you say can't, right? Do what others want, so tomorrow you can do what others can't. Is that what you said?
Yeah, do today what others won't, so tomorrow you can do what others can't.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Lars, this has been a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
No, this is an interesting concept. I was very intrigued when you contacted me, so I've been happy to take part of it. Thanks very much, John.
I appreciate that, my friend. Lars, this has been a great pleasure. One more time, I tell you, thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyag.com. That's poemsbyag.com.